Am I not a writer if I can't write? This doesn't make any sense. This is such a bigger topic. I realized that was a mistake. Hey, hi, hello, how are you? I'm Pia. Welcome to the start of a new writing vlog. I just haven't really been filming lately because I've been recovering from a bit of a mentee B, but I did write yesterday, so I am kind of back on my writing track, back on the writing train is what I was gonna say. I am 6,293 words into this draft. I wrote The Inciting Incident, which I think if you watched my last vlog was where I was at last time. And I wrote The Inciting Incident, and now we're just kind of finishing up the first act. I think I have 2 more chapters in the first act. What I call the first act. The first act is like a setup. So we're still setting up. My last chapter that I wrote, which is the chapter 2 that I finished yesterday, was primarily between my 2 main characters, my main character and her love interest. As much as I was loving it, like I was loving their little like getting into their dynamic, I also missed like the other characters that I've come up with, like this whole friend group of characters and like the whole like just all the different people I've come up with. So I'm definitely like surprisingly looking forward to more of their scenes together where it's like the whole big group of all of them, but I am still like the romance is happening. So the next chapter is a kind of just like a follow-up to the inciting incident. Basically, we're crafting a plan. We are going to make a plan of attack. We're going to set up the kind of rules and guidelines. This doesn't make any sense. We're just like establishing what's going to happen for the rest of the book pretty much. Like, and that's really fun for me because while I have some things figured out, like obviously I know what's going to happen in the book, but like I don't know like what they think is going to happen to a T. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And I just really enjoy their dynamic. Like, I think it's a little fun, and it's something I haven't necessarily seen from this trope before, that I don't think I've really seen from this trope before. We'll see how it plays when I like read it back. As of right now, I'm liking I haven't done too much banter, but I've done a little bit of banter. I definitely could use some more banter. I think the next chapter will have some more banter. Banter is like my favorite thing to write. I love a little witty repartee. That will probably be more in this chapter. And yeah, it's just set up. First act is all set up. So I'm hoping to, in this vlog, finish the first act. I don't think it should take me that long, depending on like how much writing I get done each day that I work on the draft. Right now, the pace I've been working at has been like a half a chapter a day. It's fine. I have no pressure for this book. I'm like barely trying to make it a book. I'm just trying to write my thoughts, have fun. So it is now 1 p.m. I just had my lunch break. I haven't written today, but I did have lunch. So I'm gonna start writing for the day, and I'll probably just do a couple little sessions. That's a long ass intro for this video, but let's get to writing. Okay, I am wrapping up writing for the day because it's like 4 o'clock. It's late for me. Like, I don't like writing late. I don't like doing work late. I don't like afternoons. Just finished. I wrote all of chapter 3 today. It's a short chapter. There's just like one thing that needs to be accomplished. Like, things need to be ironed out, and that happened. So I worked on chapter 3. What the fuck is today's date? 29th. Okay. We are rounding out at 8,006 words. There's something about me that just loves like ending a writing session like right at the round 1,000 number. It's just something I love. Like it's a really helpful motivator because I'm like, oh, I just need to get to the next 1,000. So that means that I wrote 1,713 words, which is just a little less than I wrote yesterday. Yesterday I wrote 1,700 something else words. So that's pretty slay. I did have to write my first note to myself today for draft 2 because there was something that should have been introduced in the 3rd chapter. No, wait, was that the 3rd chapter? There was something that should have been introduced in the 2nd chapter that was not introduced because I'm a little bit of an idiot. No, because I forgot about it a little bit. It just wasn't in my notes and didn't necessarily know I was going to introduce it in that 2nd chapter. And then I was going back and I was like, oh, they should mention this thing. And I was like, oh, we haven't even like introduced this thing. So there's that. But I am thinking, because I wrote this like very quick chapter, I think I'm going to go back next time I sit down to write, which is not going to be tomorrow. Spoiler, not going to be tomorrow. I think next time I'm going to sit down to write, I'm going to read this chapter, and I have been editing as I go, and I know it's a cardinal sin of writing, but there's something about this draft and the way I'm writing this draft, which I've told you has been relatively easy and isn't causing me too much strife. Not much struggle, a little strife, if you will. I'm an idiot. Anyway, I have been kind of being really careful about my words. And it's stupid because this is a first draft. Like, this is garbage. Like, literally can be tossed away. I just have noticed that, like, maybe, like, I'm getting better as a writer, which is, like, cool. But I genuinely think I'm taking more care into the words that I'm writing and, like, trying to make them sound the best. So, like, that's why, I don't know if you noticed this, but in some of, like, my, like, writing clips, I'll be, like, going back and deleting stuff and, like, rewording stuff and then rewriting it. And there was a whole little part, like a little like 3 sentences in a paragraph in the chapter I was writing where I just like couldn't get what I wanted to say right. Like I kept rewriting it and I was like the tone is not coming across, and I wrote it in one tone like at first, and then I was like, no, I kind of want it to sound more like this. So I have kind of been like editing a little as I go in general, but I have also, like, when I sit down to write, I go back and I read what I wrote before, not the whole thing, but like last half of a chapter, just to like reorient myself and also kind of get a couple words in it, because I know I'm an underwriter in the first draft, and I also know that writing the second draft is so much easier. Even though I find this process not that hard, it's just so much easier to write when there's already something there and like there's already the idea there. So I just find it so easy to just go back and be like, oh, also bloop bloop bloop. So I'm not really mad that I'm doing that, because it's just kind of like, I just think this draft is like stronger because of it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's gonna be a more polished first draft than any of my other first drafts, which is really cool because I am kind of going back and filling things out after I've written them. Am I gonna go back and add that thing in chapter 2 that I have to add? I might do it. I'm not sure. It's a side plot. It's a side plot that goes into the retelling portion of this book, and it also has to do with the title of this book, but it's not that important. So I'm like, I could kind of save it for later. I'm not sure what I'm gonna end up doing there, but if I do add it, it's like there literally needs to be like 2 lines, like 2 sentences, and that's all that needs to be added. But I am finding that I'm having less like things to go back and like redo, like in my notes of being like my draft 2 notes of like what I want to do, because I am going back in the moment, you know, because I sit down to write. I sit down for like, I've been here for like 3 hours, right? Just writing, and then I turn off my computer and I go on my walk, or I turn on the TV and I watch something, and then my brain is still percolating, or I'm going to bed and my brain is thinking about this book, and then I'm like, oh, you know what, I should really make her sound like this when she's saying this, because her attention is more like this and her motivation aligns with this, and she would really be feeling more like this in that moment. I'm just always thinking about this book even when I close the computer. So like, why can't I just like go back and like add or change things as I come up with them? Those are my thoughts. So that's how I've been writing this book. This is why I say that every book I've written has been different, because I've never written a book like this. So it's very strange. I was gonna film a video, but I don't think I am, because I don't want to. Because I don't want to, so maybe I'll film it tomorrow. Do you want me to hear me ramble more? I feel like the homies that are here maybe do care, but like, this is such a bigger topic. This is such a larger discussion of something. I mean, might as well have it in a writing blog, whatever. I have been having trouble. This year has been really like a challenge for making content, because like I was really busy and I wasn't making a lot, and then I had this whole push after I graduated to just make things that I thought would get more attention. And now I'm kind of at this like crossroads where I'm kind of like, well, that wasn't entirely successful, anyway. So should I keep trying to make things that appeal to the algorithm, or should I just make things for this core audience that I have? But also, I've never been monetized a day in my life, and I've been on YouTube for 10 years and I put so much work and effort into my videos, so like, shouldn't I get some sort of compensation for what I do, for the work that I do? And I could do more. Like, if people wanted to see different things, then I could do different things. But like, and I'm missing also the like connection that I felt like this time last year, like when I was running my readathon and hosting reading sprints and stuff like that, and I just really felt really connected to you guys. And I feel like I really lost that because I stopped posting so much, and then because I started posting things that I wasn't really like, not enjoying, but like that I was just posting to get attention and get a bigger audience, I felt like I still wasn't connecting with the people that were already here. And I just am trying to like figure out a way to like make content that I like and that I'm proud of and get it to the people that want to see it. And also, like, I hate to say it, but like, make a profit. Like, I don't know, like, I'm just a girl. Like, I don't know. I think this next like 6 months and foreseeable year are gonna be really telling of what I'm doing, because I've been doing this for so long and I'm a little bit fed up with myself being on here for so long. So this is maybe not the discussion you thought you would have in this writing vlog, but it is something that I've really been needing to talk about, so that's why I talked about it. Anyway, I'm gonna go. And I will see you next time I'm writing. Well, hello friends. I don't remember when I filmed like the first part of this video. It's at least a week later. Maybe 2 weeks? I don't know. And the last time I filmed was kind of my last like good productive writing day. I have been in a bit of a funk lately in my life, not just in writing, but it has carried forth into my writing and has led to a bout of writer's block, which I haven't really experienced like too much of writer's block in my life, but like this is kind of the worst I've felt about it. Not like going too into it, but for me it's just been like I've tried to like sit down and write and I just am flooded with a bunch of anxiety and just like imposter syndrome and just like a bunch of things that are telling me that I can't do anything and they kind of paralyze me and I can't write. So that's been what I've been going through lately and why I haven't written. I think the last time I wrote was earlier this week, which I didn't film. I was filming a different video, and I worked on the timeline for this book because I think I told you previously I didn't make a timeline. I realized that was a mistake, and I made a timeline for the book, and then I wrote like 200 words. But yeah, so I'm trying to remedy that. I'm trying to get out of my slump and get in a groove of some sort with my writing. I think writing has always been like a good escape for me and has always been something that I can focus my attention on, and especially when I'm not in the best of places, like I think that it's very comforting. So I really would love to get back to writing, but I also will say if I can't, I'm not gonna like hold myself to it. Like if I still find myself to be like, you know, maybe it's just the story, maybe like I just don't feel like writing this story right now and that's why I'm not writing, maybe this is not the story I need to tell right now, then that's totally fine. I just want to like pin down like what it is and move forward. So anyway, that's a long spiel to get to what we're doing today, which is something I used to do. I think in my last series of writing vlogs when I was writing my last book, I also had a bit of burnout, stuck kind of feelings, and I chose to handwrite one of my chapters and found that it worked really well and it got the words out and everything like that. And I don't know if I mentioned that in that video. If I did, sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I actually hand wrote I don't want to call it a book because when I look back on it, there was like no plot. Like the plot was so flimsy, but like I created this whole like magic world and like school and system and stuff when I was in high school. And I wrote this story and it was like, I got like 45,000 words into it, but I hand wrote the entire thing in like a little notebook and I loved doing that so much. So I am no stranger to handwriting. So I thought that going back to my roots, I could get a new notebook and crack it open and try to write out this story. And like maybe I just need to handwrite this chapter, or maybe this is just how I'm gonna write the rest of this book. Either way, it doesn't matter to me because this book has no deadline and there's no pressure on it. I'm trying to put the least amount of pressure on myself, and even like tracking my word count in these vlogs has like put pressure on me. So I'm not even gonna like, I know I was like bullet journaling like my daily word counts and stuff. I don't think I'm gonna do that, at least while I'm handwriting. Like I just don't think I want to do that because it's just like, it's too much pressure. Yesterday I went out and I went to the Brookline Booksmith in Boston, which is one of my favorite bookstores, and I found this beautiful notebook. Thank you to my friend Amber for helping me find it. It's giving like autumn moon, harvest moon vibes, which my book is not set in fall, but that's okay. Just felt like it fit the vibe of the story. So it has like gilded edges. It's very pretty. So this is the notebook that I'm going to be using for now. I wanted to buy a new notebook to incentivize myself and like hopefully just like inspire myself that like this is going to be the book notebook. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do today. That's pretty much my only goal, is just to try writing and try to get myself in the right headspace. I know I was saying like this book is writing itself very easily. There's no like real problem with the book. I think the book is outlined well and like I know what is gonna happen in each beat and things like that, but like it's just me. But anyway, so I'm going to try my hand at handwriting. I told you I wrote like 200 words into this chapter, so I'm gonna copy over those 200 words into the notebook just so I'm not starting like in the middle of a chapter. But I'm gonna copy those over. I'm on chapter 4 and I'm going to, goddamn, we're gonna see if we can write today. Hopefully, fingers crossed for me. Hello everyone. I'm doing much better than I was this morning. So writing did in fact happen today, which like, thank God. I was worried there. I was like, am I not a writer if I can't write? What am I gonna do? Identity crisis was kicking in. Okay, so I'm gonna update you on my writing, what I got done today, and I'm also gonna like do a little reflection on like how it went. So I wrote all of chapter 4, so that was one, I skipped a page. First page, I skipped basically 5 pages. I knew it was gonna be a short chapter. It was like one scene that needed to happen and it was short and it happened. So I did chapter 4 and then I started chapter 5. Chapter 5 probably needs about 2 more pages, but right now it's 1, 2, 5, 6 pages. And it probably needs about 2 more pages to kind of wrap things up. But I'm really liking chapter 5 because a bunch of other characters are introduced and I just also think it brings out a different part of my main character, so I think that's really fun as well. Getting to see her as she is like family rather than like with her friends, and I think that's really fun. So in general, like I know I wasn't doing so well. As much as I tried not to put pressure on this book, and this is kind of like a writing update as well, I have graduated college, and I'd say this in like almost every video, but like writing has kind of been like my career goal for as long as I've had a career goal. And I think that like even without trying to put pressure on this book, there was that ingrained pressure of me saying like this is what I want to do as my career. And now that I'm out of school, that's like so much of a higher priority and of a higher caliber than I think that I was ready for. And I think that's why I felt so much pressure about this book. But here's the reality. I'm going to spend the fall and winter getting my ass into gear querying, and I'm querying my first 2 books and just trying to get a literary agent that way. I have 1 query out of my second book, which you all know, and I have a few queries out of my first book that have yet to be answered. So I'm still waiting on those things. As we all know, publishing is kind of quiet during the summer months, so it's really not, there's really no point in me like sending out a bunch of queries now, because they're just not going to get back to me for a long time, so I'm just going to do it in the fall. The main part of me writing this book and the main kind of feeling that I'm getting from this writing book and the main goal I have for writing this third book is just to like have fun with writing again, and I was having fun with writing it when I was typing and when I was not having so many brain goblins, as you may say. But going back to handwriting and just writing and not really caring about word count or if it sounds right or if it's the perfect word in this place, and like just like being like, this is a project that is for the most part gonna live in my notebook right now, and it doesn't need to see the light of day for a long time, like until she's ready. I'm just trying to bring the joy back into writing. I went to Tate because I went there yesterday and I was like, I want another matcha. So I went and got a matcha and I just wrote until I was done drinking my matcha, and it was really nice. I finally found a seat. I never find a seat at Tate, which is why I don't go very often, but there were seats because it was like 4 o'clock. And I liked like, you know, getting out of the house and like writing. I've always wanted to like be someone that like goes to cafes and writes, but because I have a computer that does not work if it's not plugged in, I can never do that. I've never been able to do that, but I do really like the environment, and like I wasn't listening to music. I was just kind of like really getting in the zone, and I really enjoyed that. I am going to have a new kind of system for how I write. Now I'm going to be writing in this notebook. There's something about writing in this notebook, even though I'm saying like I'm done writing for the day, like, you know, I have like 2 more pages in this chapter, but I think I'm gonna finish them tomorrow. I can just pull this notebook out. Sorry, I can hold it. I can pull this notebook out whenever I want and just scribble a few things. Like I took a break and I thought I was gonna be done writing for the day, and then I was watching some writing vlogs and I was like, I had an idea, and I wrote it down. And then I was like, oh, I kind of want to write more of the scene, and that's why I went out and did that. The nice thing about like writing in a notebook is like I can just have this on my bedside table, you know. I can have this like very close by to me and I can just write whenever I want, which is obviously different than like my laptop. My laptop is basically a desktop. I can't really bring it places, so it's like so much more like portable and like nice and stuff like that. So I think I'm definitely gonna like try writing outside more, and I think that this is going to be a better tool for me. I'm hoping it works out. I'm hoping, you know, it's sparking joy right now. I'm hoping it continues to spark joy. And that's kind of my big takeaways with this little experiment. I'm gonna keep trying to do it and just like write a little here and there. It doesn't have to be any big thing, but I'm enjoying being in my story again, and I'm one of those people that like pictures everything in my mind. So like for me, like sitting down to write is just like watching the movie of my book in my head. It's very entertaining for me. I don't know if I'm faster at handwriting, but I feel like I might be. But anyway, I am going to wrap up this vlog here. I know it's kind of like just like 2 random days, but I'm going to start doing another video and just kind of keep writing for myself. And maybe I will bring back some writing challenges and things like that. For now, I'm just trying to kind of get in the groove of writing as a habit. I'm not usually this open about stuff, but I hope that it was okay. Let me know what are some of your writer struggles. If you're struggling right now writing, I feel you. If you're having a really great time with your writing, let me know. I would love to know. Or if you have ever found yourself handwriting for one reason or another and how that's worked out for you, I would love to hear your thoughts on handwriting as a practice, because I feel like not a lot of people do it. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, do all the things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.